The atmosphere was thick with tension aboard the Athery Commonwealth's Grand Council starship, orbiting Earth at a cautious distance. The chamber, designed to intimidate, was filled with representatives from various alien civilizations, their features ranging from the luminescent skin of the Athery to the rugged, rock-like exteriors of the Grolan delegates. At the center of the room, Michael Turner stood alone before the imposing assembly. His suit was sharp, his gaze even sharper, as he faced the council with a calm defiance that belied the gravity of the situation. Councillor Vorek, a towering figure with skin that shimmered like the surface of a star, addressed Michael in a voice that resonated through the chamber. Michael Turner, representative of Earth, you stand before the powers of the known universe. We have watched your planet, observed its chaos. It is time to bring order. Surrender your autonomy to the Athery Commonwealth, and we will ensure your world's survival. Michael's response was measured, his tone even. Esteemed counselors, I stand before you not to surrender, but to propose an alternative. Earth is a vibrant, thriving world. We seek partnership, not patronage, dialogue, not demands. From her seat among her peers, Lyra observed Michael. His courage intrigued her. It was not common to see such spirited defense in this chamber. As Vorek scoffed at Michael's proposal, Lyra's gaze hardened. She could see the potential in this human, a potential perhaps worth exploring further. As the council erupted into murmurs of disapproval and intrigue, a smaller, more agile figure from the Zilth delegation leaned forward. And if we refuse this partnership? Hissed the delegate, his voice like the crackle of thin ice. We are prepared to stand alone if necessary, Michael replied. But consider what could be gained from working together. Humanity has much to offer. Lyra rose, her movement drawing the room's attention. Councillor Vorek, if I may, she interjected smoothly. I suggest we consider Envoy Turner's words. A hasty decision may close doors that could lead to unforeseen benefits for all. Vorek's eyes narrowed, but he nodded stiffly, allowing her the floor. The room settled into a wary silence, awaiting her next words. Thank you, Counselor, Lyra continued, her voice clear and compelling. Perhaps a demonstration of Earth's cultural and technological achievements could enlighten our decision. It is not weakness to seek knowledge before acting. Michael looked at Lyra, a silent thank you in his eyes. Her support was unexpected but welcome, and it seemed to sway some of the council. Very well, Vorek finally declared, his tone reluctant. Earth will provide a demonstration of its capabilities. But be warned, failure to impress will result in immediate sanctions. As the council adjourned, Michael approached Lyra. Thank you, Counselor Lyra. I hope you know what you've started. Lyra met his gaze, her expression unreadable yet softening slightly. So do I, Envoy Turner, so do I. But I believe in listening before leaping, in understanding before judging. Let us show the council that Earth is more than worth the effort. Together, they walked out of the chamber, a human and an Athery, united by a shared vision of hope for Earth's future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The diplomatic zone on Earth was a melting pot of cultures, alien and human alike. Towering skyscrapers with gleaming facades reflected the vibrant life of the city below. Neon lights flickered in multilingual signs, welcoming visitors from across the galaxy. Michael Turner, along with his colleague, Dr. Alexei Petrov, a seasoned diplomat with a keen mind for alien psychology, walked through the bustling streets towards a discreet cafe frequented by off-world visitors. Today, they were to meet Counselor Lyra in a neutral, less formal setting. As they entered the cafe, Lyra was already there, disguised in human clothing but still strikingly alien with her luminescent skin subtly shimmering under her jacket. She stood to greet them, her movements graceful and composed. Envoy Turner, Dr. Petrov, thank you for meeting me here, Lyra said, extending her hand, which they both shook. I trust this location is discreet enough for our discussions. Alexei smiled, his eyes crinkling with genuine warmth. Perfect for open conversations. Shall we? He gestured towards a secluded booth. Once settled, Michael initiated the dialogue. Counselor Lyra, your support at the council was unexpected but highly appreciated. What made you decide to help us? Lyra sipped her drink, choosing her words carefully. My people value knowledge, Envoy. What I've seen of Earth so far suggests there's much we don't understand about you. Perhaps, through cooperation, we can both gain. Alexei nodded. Insightful. We believe that Earth's diverse cultures and ideas could benefit the Commonwealth as much as any technology we might share. The conversation shifted towards practicalities. What exactly does the Council expect from this demonstration? Michael asked. They're looking for proof of advancement in peaceful applications. Anything from environmental technologies to societal achievements, Lyra explained. Alexei chimed in. Then we shall give them an array of what Earth has to offer. Perhaps a tour of our cultural landmarks, coupled with demonstrations of our environmental recovery programs. Lyra considered this. A wise choice. Experiencing Earth's recovery firsthand could sway more of my peers towards your cause. As the meeting drew to a close, they discussed the logistics of organizing the demonstration. Lyra's insight into the Council's interests and expectations was invaluable, helping them tailor the upcoming events to highlight Earth's unique qualities. Before we part, Lyra said as they stood to leave, there's a personal curiosity I'd like to satisfy. I've read about Earth's music. Could we perhaps include a musical performance in the demonstration? Michael grinned. Absolutely. Music is a universal language. We'll make sure it's on the agenda. They exchanged goodbyes, each feeling cautiously optimistic. As Michael and Alexei walked back through the city, they discussed their next steps. Think she'll really sway her peers? Alexei asked, looking back towards the cafe. Michael looked thoughtful. She might. There's something about her that tells me she's deeply committed to this. Let's just make sure our demonstration is as compelling as possible. Alexei nodded in agreement, and they continued their walk, discussing potential venues and artists that could showcase the best of humanity. Their partnership with Lyra, though fragile, was a bridge between worlds, one that held the promise of a better future for both. The sun rose over Earth's central research facility, a sprawling complex on the outskirts of Geneva. Its sleek glass towers and lush surrounding gardens contrasted sharply with the advanced, sterile interior humming with activity. Michael Turner and Dr. Alexei Petrov were on edge, fine-tuning every last detail for Lyra's visit. Today, they were going to show her Earth's innovative solutions to some of the greatest challenges faced by their world. Michael, are you sure this is going to work? Alexei asked, adjusting his tie as they walked through the facility's corridors. Michael glanced at him. We don't have a choice, Alexei. This isn't just about impressing Lyra. It's about making her believe in what we're capable of. Let's make sure everything runs smoothly. They entered the main atrium where Lyra was waiting, observing a holographic map of Earth with interest. She turned to them as they approached, her expression calm yet inquisitive. Counselor Lyra, welcome to the Geneva Research Facility, Michael said, extending his hand. She shook it, her touch cool but firm. Thank you, Envoy Turner. And Dr. Petrov, it's a pleasure to meet you again. Alexei offered her a friendly smile. The pleasure is ours, Counselor. We've prepared a series of demonstrations to highlight our work. I think you'll find them enlightening. The trio began their tour, starting with the Environmental Restoration Wing. As they entered the lab, a lush indoor rainforest stretched out before them, complete with birds chirping and water flowing from an artificial waterfall. This is our Biodiversity Restoration Initiative, Alexei explained, gesturing to the greenery. We've developed advanced techniques to reverse deforestation and reintroduce endangered species to their natural habitats. Lyra walked slowly through the simulated forest, her fingertips brushing the leaves of a tree. This is remarkable. I was under the impression Earth's ecosystems were on the brink of collapse. Michael stepped forward. They were, but we learned to adapt and innovate. This facility alone has helped reforest thousands of acres across the globe. Lyra looked at him, her luminous eyes searching his face. It's impressive. You've managed to turn something destructive into something thriving. Their next stop was the Energy Innovation Center, where massive holograms displayed Earth's energy grid powered by renewable sources. Engineers worked at consoles, monitoring data and running simulations. Our energy is now 90% renewable, Alexei explained. Solar, wind, and fusion power have eliminated the need for fossil fuels. We've also developed portable fusion generators for off-grid regions. Lyra examined the holograms, her expression thoughtful. You've achieved energy independence without harming your planet further. Many advanced civilizations struggle with such balance. It's a hard lesson we learned after decades of mistakes, Michael admitted. But it taught us that progress doesn't have to come at the cost of destruction. The tour continued into the medical advancement labs, where holographic displays showcased breakthroughs in disease eradication and prosthetics that mimicked natural limbs. Lyra was particularly captivated by a demonstration of a bionic arm that moved with fluid precision as its operator flexed their muscles. Incredible, Lyra said softly. Your focus on healing rather than harming is commendable. It's not what I expected from a species often described as volatile. Michael smirked. We're full of surprises. The final stop on their tour was the Cultural Center, where holograms and artifacts displayed Earth's rich history, from ancient civilizations to modern achievements. A small group of musicians played in the corner, filling the space with a hauntingly beautiful melody. Lyra paused, listening intently to the music. This is what I wanted to experience. Music that tells a story, that conveys emotion without words. Michael leaned closer to her, his voice softer now. Music has always been our way of connecting with each other, no matter how different we are. She turned to him, her expression unreadable but her voice tinged with curiosity. Do you believe this is enough to sway the council? Michael exchanged a glance with Alexei, who nodded subtly. It's a start, Michael said. But the real question is, do you think it's enough? Lyra hesitated, her gaze sweeping over the room. I think it could be. If they see what I've seen, it could change perspectives. Alexei stepped forward, breaking the moment. Then we'll need your help, counselor. You're our bridge to the council. Without your support, they may never truly understand what Earth has to offer. Lyra met his gaze, her determination evident. I'll do what I can, but be aware, there are those who will oppose this, no matter what evidence is presented. We're used to resistance, Michael said with a wry smile. But we're not giving up. As they exited the facility, the sun was setting over Geneva, casting a golden glow over the city. Lyra paused at the entrance, turning to Michael and Alexei. Thank you for showing me this, she said. It's given me a new perspective on your world, and on your people. Michael nodded, his voice steady. And thank you for giving us the chance to show you. This is just the beginning. Lyra inclined her head slightly before stepping into her transport pod. As it ascended into the sky, Alexei turned to Michael. Think we've convinced her? Michael watched the pod until it disappeared into the clouds. Not yet, but I think we've given her something to think about. The two men stood in silence for a moment, the weight of the day settling over them. Then, with a shared nod, they turned and walked back into the facility, ready to prepare for the next step in their fight for Earth's future. Inside the heart of the HFY starship, Counselor Lyra made her way through the labyrinthine corridors. Despite her calm exterior, she was inwardly torn. Her meetings with Michael and Alexei had opened her eyes to Earth's potential, and she had begun to think that perhaps humanity did not belong under the Commonwealth's control. But such thoughts were dangerous, borderline treasonous in the eyes of some. Lyra entered a small observation lounge, the massive window revealing a breathtaking view of Earth below. Michael was already waiting for her, seated on one of the angular, crystalline benches. He rose as she approached, his face lighting up when he saw her. "Counselor," he said, his voice soft but warm. "I wasn't sure if you'd come." Lyra offered a faint smile. "You make it difficult to stay away, Envoy Turner. You and Dr. Petrov have a way of challenging my perspective." "Sometimes a little challenge is good," Michael replied. "It means you're still open to new ideas." Lyra glanced around the empty lounge, her expression guarded. "We must be careful. If anyone discovers we've been meeting in private, it could be disastrous for both of us. Michael gestured toward the window, the glowing curve of Earth visible beyond. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just talking. It's not that simple, Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. Not everyone in the council shares my curiosity about humanity. There are those who see your world only as a threat. Then maybe it's time someone in the council spoke up, Michael suggested. If you believe in what we've shown you, our culture, our innovations, then you should let your colleagues know. Before Lyra could respond, the doors to the lounge slid open, and another Athery counselor strode in. It was Norin, a staunch traditionalist known for his rigid adherence to the Commonwealth's doctrine. His golden eyes narrowed as he took in the scene. Lyra standing close to Michael, the two clearly in deep conversation. What is going on here? Norin demanded, his voice cutting through the tense silence. Lyra straightened, her composure returning in an instant. Counselor Norin, I wasn't expecting you. Clearly, Norin replied, his gaze shifting between her and Michael. Why are you consorting with a human envoy in private? What exactly are you discussing that cannot be shared with the rest of the council? Michael stepped forward, his voice firm. Counselor Norin, we were merely continuing a discussion about Earth's contributions to the Commonwealth. Lyra was kind enough to provide some additional insight. Insight? Norin scoffed. This is highly irregular. Lyra, you know our protocols. Any discussions of this nature must be conducted openly, with full transparency. Lyra hesitated for a fraction of a second, then met Norin's gaze. You're right, Counselor. I should have been more mindful of the protocols. I assure you, there is nothing improper about our conversation. Norin stepped closer, his expression darkening. Improper or not, this meeting will be reported. The council must be informed of all discussions involving the human delegation. Very well, Lyra said calmly. I will personally inform the council of our conversation. Satisfied, Norin turned and left, the door sliding shut behind him. The moment he was gone, Michael exhaled, tension draining from his shoulders. That could have gone worse, he said, attempting a wry smile. It's not over, Lyra said quietly. Norin will twist this encounter to serve his own agenda. We must tread carefully from now on. Michael studied her face, noting the subtle worry in her expression. Lyra, if you're risking too much by meeting with us. I choose my own risks, she interrupted, her tone resolute. And I believe Earth is worth that risk. But from now on, we must be even more careful. No more casual meetings. If we need to speak, it will be through official channels, and only when absolutely necessary. Michael nodded, his respect for her growing with each passing moment. Understood. Thank you for standing by us. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. You have given me much to think about, Envoy Turner, and I'm not ready to give up on this on what you've shown me. Their conversation ended on that uncertain note. As Michael watched her leave, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a knife's edge. One wrong step and their fragile alliance could crumble. When Michael returned to his quarters, he found Alexei waiting for him, seated at a small desk with his tablet. The older man looked up, his brow furrowing as he noted Michael's troubled expression. What happened? Alexei asked. Michael sank into the chair opposite him. Norin caught us talking. Lyra handled it, but things just got a lot more complicated. Alexei sighed, running a hand through his hair. We knew it wouldn't be easy. Norin's been against us from the start. But if Lyra is still willing to work with us, we have a chance. Barely, Michael muttered. She's right. We have to be more cautious. We can't let anyone think we're trying to undermine the council. Otherwise, we'll lose her support and probably a lot more. Alexei leaned back, tapping his fingers against the table. It's a delicate balance, but that's diplomacy. We keep working, keep showing them what Earth can do, and hope it's enough. Michael nodded slowly. Hope and hard work. That's all we've got right now. And so, the two men sat together, planning their next moves with careful precision. The path forward was fraught with danger, but they had no intention of giving up. They would do whatever it took to protect Earth and the fragile alliance they were building, one step at a time. The Grand Chamber of the HFY Commonwealth Central Assembly hummed with anticipation. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the vast circular room, their seats arrayed in tiers that ascended toward the glowing dome above. In the center of it all, standing on the transparent platform where all voices were amplified, were Michael Turner and Dr. Alexei Petrov. Their appearance here was a bold move, and everyone in the room knew it. Michael adjusted his tie, his face calm but his pulse quickened. Beside him, Alexei was reviewing notes on a sleek datapad. "You ready for this?" Michael asked quietly, keeping his tone light. Alexei didn't look up, his brow furrowed. "Does it matter if we're ready? The only thing that matters is whether they'll listen." "Fair point." Michael let out a slow breath and glanced up at the tiers of alien delegates. They were all waiting, watching with a mixture of curiosity, skepticism, and outright disdain. "You've got the technical breakdowns?" "Every last detail," Alexei replied. "Our energy systems, our environmental recovery efforts, the medical breakthroughs, everything. But that's not going to win them over. What they want to hear is why they should care." Michael nodded. "That's my department." At that moment, the voice of the Assembly's chairperson echoed through the chamber. "We will now hear from the representatives of Earth." Michael stepped forward, his shoes clicking softly on the platform. He paused to let honorable delegates, members of the Commonwealth, and esteemed Councillor Lyra. He began, nodding to Lyra, who was seated among the HFY delegation. "We come before you not as supplicants, but as equals. Earth may not be as old or as powerful as some of your civilizations, but we have something valuable to share, something that could benefit us all." A low murmur rippled through the chamber. Michael caught Lyra's subtle nod of encouragement, and he pressed on. "My colleague Dr. Petrov will provide the technical details of what we offer. Renewable energy systems, biodiversity restoration, advanced medical technologies, and cultural heritage that stretches back thousands of years. But more importantly, I want to address the question that I see in so many of your eyes. Why should the Commonwealth align itself with Earth?" Michael spread his hands in a gesture of openness. "Because we believe that cooperation is stronger than coercion. Because we know what it's like to face challenges that seem insurmountable, and to overcome them. Earth stands as a partner willing to share our knowledge, our creativity, and our dedication to improving not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us." Alexei stepped forward then, launching into a detailed presentation. Holographic displays lit up around the chamber, showing projections of Earth's clean energy grids, the rapid regrowth of forests once devastated by human industry, and medical technologies that had saved millions of lives. He spoke with calm authority, answering questions from delegates who probed for weaknesses or sought clarification. "Dr. Petrov," one delegate from the crystalline Vorix species said, his voice melodic and sharp, "your advancements are indeed impressive. But what guarantee do we have that Earth's intentions are truly altruistic? How do we know you do not seek to use these technologies to gain leverage over other worlds?" Alexei looked to Michael, who stepped back in. "That's a fair question," Michael said, his tone steady. "The guarantee lies in our shared interests. Earth doesn't want dominance, we want partnerships. We understand that the challenges facing our planet are not unique. By working together, we all stand to benefit. And the Commonwealth's oversight ensures transparency. If our intentions were anything but honorable, you'd see it clearly." The delegate leaned back, his crystalline features unreadable, but he did not press further. Around the chamber, other delegates conferred in low tones. Michael and Alexei could only hope that their words were planting the seeds of trust. As their presentation wrapped up, Lyra rose from her seat. Her presence alone silenced the chamber. "Esteemed delegates," she said, her voice calm yet commanding. "I have seen firsthand the potential Earth possesses. I have walked their cities, spoken with their people, and witnessed their achievements. I believe this partnership represents an opportunity we cannot ignore. I urge this council to consider not just what Earth can offer us, but what we can accomplish together." Her words carried weight, and Michael felt a glimmer of optimism. He turned to Alexei, who gave him a brief, reassuring nod. The two men stood side by side as the council prepared to deliberate, ready to answer any further questions and defend their case if necessary. They knew that the road ahead was still uncertain, but together, they had given the council much to consider. Lyra stepped out of the Athery shuttle and onto the bustling streets of Old Paris, her eyes widening as she took in the scene. The streets were alive with vibrant colors and sounds. Vendors called out, street performers drew laughing crowds, and the unmistakable aroma of baked goods filled the air. Lyra had studied humanity's history extensively, but standing here amidst one of Earth's oldest cultural hubs was a far more visceral experience. Michael Turner and Alexei Petrov walked beside her, guiding her through the lively market. "Welcome to the Marais," Michael said, gesturing around. "It's one of the most historic districts in Paris. You wanted a deeper understanding of human culture, so we thought this would be a good place to start." Lyra tilted her head as she observed a painter setting up an easel on the cobblestones. "This is unlike anything I've seen before. The energy, the creativity. It's chaotic, yet fascinating." Alexei grinned. "That's humanity for you. We thrive on diversity and spontaneity. Chaos can be fertile ground for new ideas." As they walked, Michael bought a small bouquet of flowers from a street vendor and handed them to Lyra. She took them hesitantly, looking down at the delicate blooms. "What is the purpose of this?" she asked. "It's a gift," Michael explained. "A gesture of kindness. A way to say, 'I'm glad you're here.'" She examined the flowers, her fingers brushing the petals. "A simple act, yet it carries meaning. I see why these gestures have value to your people." They continued through the market, stopping at a cafe where they ordered pastries and sat under a large umbrella. The conversation flowed more naturally now, Lyra asking questions about human history, traditions, and how they adapted to challenges over the centuries. "It's not always easy to find common ground," Michael admitted, sipping his coffee. "But when we do, it can lead to amazing things. Just look around. This city has stood through revolutions, wars, and disasters. And yet, here it is, still vibrant, still full of life." Lyra listened intently, her luminous eyes reflecting the sunlight. "In the Commonwealth, we strive for perfection. Stability is our highest priority. But here I sense something different. You value growth, even if it means embracing uncertainty." "That's a pretty good way of putting it," Alexei said. "Our history is messy, but we learn from it. And part of what we learn is how to connect with each other despite our differences." Lyra leaned back in her chair, taking in the sounds of the city. "I wonder if that's what the council needs to see. Not just your accomplishments, but the spirit behind them. The way you find strength in diversity." "That's exactly what we're trying to show," Michael said. "But it's hard to explain to those who haven't experienced it themselves." Lyra turned her gaze to him. "Then perhaps we need to create more experiences like this. If I can bring other council members here, show them what you've shown me, it might shift their perspective." Michael and Alexei exchanged a glance, both silently acknowledging the potential of Lyra's suggestion. "That's not a bad idea," Alexei said. "If they can see it with their own eyes, feel it for themselves, they might be more willing to reconsider their position." As the day went on, they visited more landmarks. The Louvre, where Lyra marveled at humanity's artistic achievements. The Seine River, where they took a boat ride and shared stories of their respective worlds. And finally, the Eiffel Tower, where the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in a warm, golden glow. Michael and Lyra found themselves standing at the tower's base, watching the lights flicker on. Alexei had stepped away to take a call, leaving the two of them alone. Lyra turned to Michael, her expression contemplative. "You have a remarkable world, Envoy Turner," she said, "and an even more remarkable way of seeing it." Michael smiled. "It's not just about seeing it, it's about sharing it. I think that's what makes it truly special." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The hum of the city filled the air as the lights of the tower sparkled above them. Michael took a small step closer, his voice quieter now. "Lyra, I'm glad you're here. She looked at him, the faintest hint of a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. So am I, Michael. Their eyes met, and the moment stretched, unspoken words passing between them. Gently, Michael reached out and brushed a strand of her hair away from her face. Lyra didn't pull back. Instead, she placed her hand over his, her fingers cool against his skin. They stood like that for what felt like an eternity, the divide between their worlds momentarily forgotten. When Alexei returned, he found them standing side by side, watching the city lights. He said nothing, simply joining them in the quiet moment. The three of them had come together from vastly different backgrounds, but they shared a common goal now, a chance to build a better future. And for the first time, it felt like that future might actually be within reach. The Central Council chamber was filled with a palpable tension as delegates shuffled into their seats. The moment was pivotal, and every representative present knew it. This was the session where Earth's fate would be debated and possibly decided. Michael Turner and Alexei Petrov stood near the center, flanked by several human staff members who had come to support them. Both men looked calm on the surface, but the stakes weighed heavily on them. Michael leaned slightly toward Alexei. You sure we've got everything ready? Alexei adjusted his datapad, where key points and evidence were neatly organized. We have what we have. The real question is whether they're willing to listen. Just then, Lyra entered the chamber and took her seat among the Athri delegation. She didn't look at Michael or Alexei directly, but her calm demeanor and the subtle nod she gave to the chairperson signaled her support. Michael straightened his posture, sensing that the moment to speak was approaching. The chairperson's voice echoed across the chamber. This session of the Commonwealth Assembly will come to order. The topic is the human delegation's proposal for a collaborative partnership. Envoy Turner, you have the floor. Michael stepped onto the central platform, his shoes clicking softly against the surface. He took a moment to scan the room. Rows of alien delegates gazed back at him, their expressions ranging from skeptical to curious. Alexei stood just behind him, ready to provide data and technical details. Honored members of the council, Michael began. Earth's history is not without its struggles, but those struggles have taught us something valuable. That progress is not a solo endeavor. It's achieved through cooperation, through shared knowledge and mutual respect. A delegate from the crystalline species, the Orcs, leaned forward. And yet, you ask us to trust you, when so much of your history is marked by conflict. Alexei took the question in stride. History is complex, counselor. But if you look at Earth's current state, you'll see how far we've come. The technologies we've developed, clean energy systems, medical advancements, methods of restoring damaged ecosystems, these are not tools of war. They are tools of recovery and growth. Another delegate, a representative from the aquatic Surthish civilization, raised a question. What can Earth offer the Commonwealth that we do not already possess? Michael gestured to Alexei, who activated a series of holographic displays. They showed images of Earth's efforts to clean its oceans, revitalize barren lands, and develop portable fusion reactors that could be deployed anywhere in the galaxy. Alexei stepped forward, his voice steady. While some of you may already have advanced technologies, Earth brings a fresh perspective. Our innovations are born out of necessity, out of a need to survive and improve. We can offer approaches that complement your own methods, and in doing so, help all of us reach new levels of understanding and capability. The chamber was silent for a moment as delegates whispered among themselves. Lyra took this opportunity to stand. I have witnessed these developments firsthand, she said. I have walked among their people, seen their creativity and determination. Earth does not seek to dominate or exploit. They seek to share. They seek to grow with us, not apart from us. A murmur of agreement ran through some parts of the chamber, though other delegates remained skeptical. Michael seized the opportunity to follow up on Lyra's statement. Our proposal is simple, he said. A mutual exchange of knowledge and resources. A partnership that benefits all parties involved. We're not here to ask for handouts or to push an agenda. We're here to show that by working together, we can achieve things we never thought possible. The chairperson raised a hand to signal for silence. The council will deliberate. Envoy Turner, Dr. Petrov, you may remain here while we discuss your proposal. As the council began their deliberations, Michael turned to Alexei. How do you think that went? Alexei exhaled. Better than I expected. Lyra's support is crucial. She's respected by enough members that her voice carries weight. They stepped aside and found seats near the edge of the chamber, watching as the delegates debated. At one point, Michael caught Lyra's eye. She gave him the faintest nod, and he felt a small surge of confidence. I think we have a chance, Alexei said quietly. A real chance. Michael didn't reply right away, his mind racing. The proposal had been years in the making, and now it was out of their hands. All they could do was wait and hope that their words, their actions, and the support of their allies would be enough. The council chamber buzzed with subdued voices. Delegates exchanged glances and murmured quietly as the chairperson prepared to announce the final vote. Michael Turner and Alexei Petrov stood side by side near the center of the room, watching the proceedings unfold. The past weeks had been a whirlwind: presentations, negotiations, last-minute adjustments to their proposal. Now it all came down to this moment. Michael shifted on his feet, his usual calm exterior showing a rare hint of nervous energy. This is it, Alexei. No turning back. Not that we could even if we wanted to, Alexei replied, his voice steady. Just remember, no matter the outcome, we've done everything we could. The chairperson's voice rang out, drawing everyone's attention. The council has reached a decision on Earth's proposal for partnership within the Commonwealth. By a majority vote, the council has chosen to accept. A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber, followed by scattered applause. Michael exchanged a quick glance with Alexei, who allowed himself a small smile. For a moment, they didn't say anything, just stood there, absorbing the reality that their efforts had succeeded. Lyra rose from her seat and approached them, her steps as measured as ever. Her expression was calm, but Michael could see the faintest glimmer of satisfaction in her luminous eyes. Congratulations, she said. It seems the council has recognized the value in your proposal. Michael nodded. Thank you, Councillor Lyra. This wouldn't have been possible without your support. She inclined her head. Perhaps, but it was your vision and determination that brought us to this point. I merely helped open the door. Alexei glanced around at the gathered delegates, many of whom were now openly discussing the details of the partnership. What's next, then? This is just the beginning, isn't it? Indeed, Lyra said. There will be much work to do, establishing the framework, ensuring both sides honor their commitments. But with this decision, we've set the foundation. Michael smiled faintly. Building bridges takes time, but I think we've proven it's worth the effort. As the council session adjourned, delegates began to disperse. Some approached Michael and Alexei, offering polite congratulations or asking follow-up questions about Earth's proposed contributions. It was clear that not everyone was entirely convinced, but the momentum was now in their favor. Later, as the chamber emptied, Michael and Alexei found themselves alone in a quiet corner of the room. The weight of the day began to sink in. We did it, Michael said, his voice quieter now. They actually said yes. Alexei leaned back in his chair, letting out a long breath. I have to admit, I wasn't sure this day would come, but here we are. Michael looked at him, his expression thoughtful. You've been a rock through all of this, Alexei. I couldn't have done it without you. Alexei chuckled. Let's not start with the speeches just yet. We've got a lot of work ahead. But I'll say this, if anyone could pull this off, it was you. Your ability to connect with them, to show them what humanity has to offer, that made all the difference. Michael nodded, grateful for the words. Well, it wasn't just me. It was the team, the vision, and the help of certain counselors who saw the bigger picture. As if on cue, Lyra approached again, her movements smooth and deliberate. Envoy Turner, Dr. Petrov, she said, her voice still formal but tinged with a trace of warmth. I wanted to thank you both before I leave. This partnership is a significant step for all of us. I believe we can accomplish great things together. Michael held her gaze for a moment, then extended his hand. Thank you, Counselor Lyra, for believing in us. She shook his hand, her grip firm. Belief is one thing, Envoy. Now comes the work of turning that belief into reality. But I trust we're up to the challenge. Alexei watched the exchange, then rose to join them. One step at a time, he said. For now, we should celebrate this victory, quietly, of course. But it's a victory all the same. Lyra nodded. Perhaps one day, Earth will be a full member of the Commonwealth, not just a partner. Until then, I look forward to seeing how your people continue to grow and contribute. As she turned to leave, Michael called after her. Lyra. She paused, looking back. Thank you, he said again. Simply but sincerely. She smiled faintly, then continued on her way. Michael turned back to Alexei, a renewed sense of purpose lighting his expression. This is just the beginning, Alexei. We've proven we can work together, humans and Athery, and maybe even more. Now it's time to make it count. Alexei clapped him on the shoulder. No rest for the weary, huh? Not until we've done what we set out to do. The two men left the chamber side by side, ready to face the challenges ahead. They had won the council's approval, but more importantly, they had taken the first real step towards something greater. A future built not on fear or conflict, but on understanding and cooperation.